All right. So let's just jump right to the next slide here. And the goal here, like I said, is to turn you guys into different investment or investors for real estate as a part of your portfolio, because I know that you guys do many, many more things. So obviously, some of the things like I mentioned before that we're going to be discussing is we're going to be discussing pretty much all things in the real estate space. Now, obviously, that's all areas of buying homes, all proper ways to sell your homes, proper ways to flip your homes, proper ways to get hard money loans so that you can actually start in the game, really understanding what that is. One of the biggest parts about the seminar is that we're bringing in the actual lenders to have these conversations. So we're going to be speaking to a hard money lender who is someone that, you know, if anyone that comes to the seminar is interested in moving forward to do their own deal, like they would have heard directly from the source what they're looking for so that they can lend. So now imagine you got the cheat code to getting $1 million, okay, from a hard money lender. Like literally the person says, have this, and this, you submit this, we'll loan you, we'll give you the money. Okay, now here's the next part about hard money lending, right? You buy a home, you find a deal, right? And you know, or a friend calls you, hey, I found a place, I'm looking to move on it, da 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 da. These are the numbers, and all sounds great. And what happens then is you get the property, but then you still have to figure out the renovation cost. Now, you're not trying to do a 203K loan from the bank. And what that is, guys, if for those you don't know, a 203K loan is basically when you purchase a certain property that needs renovation, the bank will loan you money for construction against the property, right? So that's what a 203K loan is. But the bank is heavily involved and sometimes can become a nuisance. And we're going to talk about different stories and scenarios that's happened, so you guys have some content to go with. But the idea of it is you want to get a construction as well. So in the hard money lending, you don't only get the money for the deal, you get the money for the construction as well. So the best part about it is you might only have to put down 10%, 15, maybe 25%, the most I've seen so far. And that's for someone that's super inexperienced and does not have support, okay? So yeah, I saw a question there and I'll get to that. If you guys have questions, you can just put them in the chat and I will then get to those questions at the very end. Depending on what's asked. But yes, a lot of those things we're going to be going through in the actual seminar in reference to what type of credit score you need and, you know, what are they looking for? What are they going to run away from? Things like that. But our goal is to make sure that that's part of it, right? Next slide. All right. So when we're talking about buying homes, the area that we're going to be discussing when it comes to buying homes, this is the key. When's the right time to buy? We're going to really determine that. We're going to literally talk to you about what's going on in the market so you start to understand when you should go in versus when you should fall back. A lot of times people make emotional decisions when it comes to buying a home. They say, oh, I'm going to buy it now. And then I'll say, hey, you know what you probably should do? You should probably rent for the next 10 months or so and then buy. People say, why would I rent? That's a waste of money. I could be putting that into a house. Yeah, but let's look at the other way from an investor standpoint. Currently, right now, if you purchased a home, most of the homes are 20, 30, if not sometimes 50% above what their normal market value should be in what could be considered a bubble market. But you want that house. So you're willing to spend 330, 340 for a house that was on the market for $299,000, right? But you want that house. The one thing that you won't say is you're not going to say, oh, that $30,000 that I'm paying over budget, over ask is actually something that's driven by data, right? You're just saying, well, it has to be because they want the price. But that doesn't mean that the house is worth that amount. So what happens now is you buy a house, and we can go into what the structure that actually looks like, but you buy this home. And now what happens there is the value, you're waiting for it to catch up. So the same thing that you just overspent on by renting, I could easily show you how you would have saved more money, not just in the short term, but in the long term, and then probably still gotten an equivalent property, but at the right price at the right time. So learning the true art to buying a home and not getting caught up in what's happening around you and not getting taken advantage of, right? A lot of times people are buying homes and they're buying them wrong. It's just, oh, I just bought a house, and they're not thinking about the future. Most people are not buying their forever home. Let's just to be honest. Some people are buying a home they can afford and they just kind of get stuck in it, right? But the majority of people, as you're moving forward in life, depending on what stage of life you're in, right? If you have kids, you may need more room. When the kids go to college, you need less room, right? So it can change. So if you're purchasing a home, what are some of the key things to zone in on to make sure you never have to worry about the value of your home, and you never have to worry about the neighborhood changing and things like that? What are some of the key things that you want to look at? We're going to make sure we cover that in this seminar, right? Next slide. All right. Now we deal with the other side of it, right? So we're going to be showing you the magic of selling a home. Now, why this is big is, as an investor, you want to understand potentially what the sellers are going to be thinking, because you're looking to get a deal, but they're also looking to get top dollar, right? So understanding the opposite. When is the best time to sell, right? When is the best time to make adjustments? What are some of the key things that tell you it's time to make a move? What's some of the key things that tell you can get above? People are losing their mind. Now, I'm not going to stop people from losing their mind, right? Because that benefits someone like me. It'll benefit some of you potential investors, because what it'll do is it'll allow you to get, recoup a lot of the money you put in, and then make percentages over, right? So if you had a property that was 150,000 and people are willing to overpay, I've seen individuals purchase homes in 1 month, and then within about 4 to 5 months, I've seen them relist that property, just do a little touch up here or there, and relist that property for almost double what it's worth, because they picked the right area, they picked the right home, they knew exactly what was going on, and they knew that the selling, the market would allow for an above average price, right? So those are some of the things you're looking for. And then obviously some of the things you don't do, right? What are some things you're not supposed to say when you're speaking to individuals about your home? What are some of the things you're supposed to avoid, so that this way you can get the best price? We're going to talk a lot about kind of how to structure your home. That's where we're going to, go through kind of like from a construction standpoint. We're going to definitely just be giving you guys some info on understanding the construction part, the renovation part, really understanding how fast renovation can jump. And we're going to be showing that with actual forms, like our actual deal sheets. We're going to also show you some bids, right? So bidding on, work, so you could see what some of the work cost to get done. So you could see how a single family home can end up paying, almost half the amount of the value in renovation costs just to get it to what they want, right? How does a house worth 500,000 get $300,000 worth of work? How does that make sense? In what world does that make sense? Well, if they were purchased in the right area, if some of the other components were in place, then that 300,000 should already show in the value. So that 300,000 should make the property worth $1 million or more, right? If that's not the case, then that would be a bad use of money. That will be you're buying a house at a certain price, but the neighborhood doesn't reflect it. So these are all the things you're looking at, which will make it hard to resell that property. So these are all the things we're going to be, teaching you guys. We're going to go through step by step what it takes to do that. All right. Next slide. All right. The flipping game. Okay. Now, you guys, I think everybody everyone's seeing a little TV. Everybody wants to get into the flip or flop game, right? They want to see if they can do it. Well, one thing I'll tell you is that it is a scary game. Okay, I know some people who think they are experts, and I've seen them get stuck in projects for months. And in some cases, the longest I've seen someone get into a property and attempt to flip the property was just over 2 years. This person stayed in this property trying to sell it for 2 years. And what ended up happening was they were spending so much money on the mortgage, right, to keep the property going. They then decided to move into that property, and funny enough, end up selling their own property that they were living in before, just because they knew someone was going to buy their current home, not the property that was flipped. And you said, well, Chris, why didn't someone want to buy it? It wasn't that someone wanted to buy it, they just didn't want to buy it at the price that he needed to sell it at. Now, those are some of the things. What does that statement really mean, right? So we're gonna go over that in numbers. We're gonna break that down to really understand what's a bad deal, when do you take a loss, and this is where we're gonna really talk about renovation costs, right? So if you decide, hey, Chris, I want to do a hard money loan, I want to give it a go. I've seen a property. I know I'm probably not going to qualify for the bank, but I can show that I can afford to do this deal and make the payments on the loan. So what happens? Well, right away, you're going to have to think about renovation costs. And you're going to have to make sure that your team is in place. So we're going to talk about how do you put together the right team. We're going to talk about how do you, make sure that you don't get yourself caught up with bad contractors, bad attorneys, so on and so forth, and making sure that your flipping experience is a good one, right? We don't want you to get yourself in the game and then get yourself stuck, not recognizing what's the overall goal. The goal is to make money, right? The goal is not to be finding yourself stuck and not being able to move, right? So we're going to be going over that in detail with examples. And like I said, having our different panelists and speakers from that space that have done very well, just giving great advice on what you can or can't do. Next. Cool. Now you guys heard me say hard money lending the whole time. You're going to hear a lot about that. So we're going to be talking about different forms of lending. Hard money lending is a big thing. When you see a lot of TV shows, when you see a lot of things like that, people are doing predominantly hard money lending in most cases. Okay. Once they've built up enough cash, then yeah, they'll come in and they'll become cash buyers. But typically what happens is a hard money lender becomes someone who uses hard money, eventually becomes a cash buyer. Why? Because you're just storing up all the money that you're getting from your deal. So now you have cash. So then you can technically even position yourself based on the amount of money that's being requested to even become your own hard money lender. So we're going to be talking about not just using hard money lending, we're going to be talking how you yourself can become a hard money lender. Okay, now that's a whole different ball game. No one really talks about these things. I've seen a lot of people talk about real estate, but I realize they're not really doing that well in real estate. They're pretty much doing some basic stuff. Now, I'm not picking on anyone particular, but in general, I see a lot of the same stuff, and a lot of it, is different. So I mean, I'm looking at it from a New York standpoint. So I'm looking at the price points here, and I'm looking at, one deal here could change someone's entire family's generation, with the right property put in place, right? Whereas in some of the smaller cities, I would see someone's strategy to be more like buying a block versus just buying a property. Like, hey, you might as well go bigger because in this city, this would be the right deal. But understanding how to take advantage of that and then how to turn it into more than what you initially started with, right? So let's go to the next slide. All right. So just want to give you guys an idea of the numbers so you guys know what this is going to be, how much it's going to cost, so on and so forth. So the event is going to be in December. We're not releasing the dates to just the general public. We are going to only be releasing the dates to those that either make a deposit or decide to register. This particular event typically runs 10K. It's not even a question because of the level of value and how much money you save by learning all these secrets and getting connected directly to the sources. That's the biggest thing here, is that you'll be able to work directly with the companies we've put in place so that if you were interested, you knew that these were the people, there's some of the people you either know or some of the people that you've heard. So this makes it a lot easier because you can go, you can work with the source, right? So what we're doing, due to the fact that, I want to make this available, like I've always had, this is going to be a 20. So we're cutting the rate to 2,500. Don't even ask me how these guys, I think they're just happy to share. I mean, we've made a lot of money together. I think, due to the fact that we've all kind of, deals going on, we have a lot going on. I don't think they mind, giving the time. But typically, the individuals that have decided to take time, you typically have to, pay for their time, but they're giving of their time as well. So they're not asking for much. So we're able to cut this seminar down to $2,500. Okay. Now, once we reach our number, so at the moment, we're only taking 10 individuals. That's today. And there's a reason for that. Okay. At the moment, we're only taking 10. Also, at the moment is the current price point. This price point may change. So I'm just letting you guys know right now. But at the moment today, this is the price point. Okay. Now, if the number changes, it is what it is. I did tell you guys, but at the current moment, we are locking in just 10 seats for the moment. So you can hold those seats by putting down a deposit if you were interested. If you're not interested, it's okay. Like I said, the goal here is to just share this information with those that want it, and then start working with them on finding deals, getting the funding, getting it rented, and making their first big commission from this themselves, helping them actually set everything up so they can move forward. Now, the good thing about this is the resources are there, right? Not that many things you can look at if you want to compare. I always try to tell people, just go and compare, what's happening here to what's happening outside. And a lot of people may try to they'll over deliver, they'll over hype it up, and then they'll under deliver. We're looking to go over and beyond. You guys, if you guys know anything about our program, our goal is to go over and beyond. And this was an area that a lot of people were trying to figure out, knowing that the market is getting ready to shift, knowing that we have the moratoriums that are being lifted, we have the forbearances are now being lifted. So the market is getting ready to open up crazy. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, it will be the wild, wild west in a few months. During that time, there will be many homes that are going into foreclosure. There'll be many homes that the individuals can't pay anymore, and they're going to be looking for a way out. They're going to be looking for a deal, because if the banks just take their homes, they make no money and they walk away with nothing in bad debt. So imagine you were looking at a particular area. We showed you how to identify a particular deal. We show you how to just position yourself and market yourself a certain way. Nothing crazy, very, very simple stuff. But just to present yourself as a serious buyer, you could then literally just make a phone call or knock on the door, and that person will then say, yep, I am open. Or even if it was listed, and you can come in as a cash buyer, having all your numbers together, and take advantage of your first deal. That's our goal. We want to make sure that when the market shifts, as wealth is shifting again, that everyone is able to take advantage of it. Earlier today, a friend of mine posted a picture in reference to what was happening with the number of people that became millionaires. And it was just funny to me, because people didn't realize that during the worst time of the year, we still gained 5.2 million millionaires. That's a lot of people that hit a million. But what do you think it came from? A lot of people took advantage of a down market going up, and a lot of people took advantage of the housing market and Airbnbs, people who had 7, 8 Airbnbs, and they have to liquidate because there was travel bans and people couldn't stay here. So now they have to liquidate 4 or 5 homes, landlords who couldn't keep up with payments. And they're like, hey, listen, I don't have to deal with this. I'm going to let go of this property so I can keep my own roof over my head. So the idea of it is that there is going to be a shift. Okay, the shift has already happened. People have already become millionaires from it. Now, we can say money is not the most important thing, but at the same time, if you're on this call, you understand the importance of what money can do and how you want to apply it, and that is into the real estate area. So if that's you and that is something that you're saying, hey, I definitely want to do it, I definitely want to be there in December, make sure you reach out to us directly. You can reach out to me directly. If you're connected to our groups, you can also reach out to Brian, and we will add you to the list, and you are able to make a deposit. Keep in mind, like I said, we are limiting the numbers currently right now. And then we are going to allow, if you guys take a look at the time we're doing this, it's August. That means that if you decide to put a deposit down, you can start to chip away at it up until, pretty much close to the event in December, right? So it's also something where it doesn't, it's necessarily not going to be the biggest thing. So I think you can make a decision for where you are. Our goal here is to make sure that no matter where you are, okay, no matter what province, no matter what country, no matter what, it's not just in the US. We are going to show you how you're going to be able to take advantage of it, because in every country, in every space, there are hard money lenders, okay? All they're looking for are the numbers. If you understand how to put the numbers together, you can make yourself and the deal attractive. And then one of the things that we're going to be doing, which we're not going to share now on this call, but once we actually do the event, we're going to be sharing a caveat only for the people that actually are at the event that will dramatically impact their chances to have massive success early. And we're not going to be charging an additional cost for that. But we're not going to be sharing that here. All I'm saying, it's a big bonus that they're going to be able to get. And it comes in the form of help, is what I mean. It's going to come in the form of help that they can get to make sure certain things move through. So that's basically what our event is going to be focused on. And we're going to be going through the details. I see there was a question there in reference to credit. Does your credit, will your personal credit matter? Yes, right? Because that's where you're starting. But we are going to show you how to build business credit. We are going to show you how to use your LLCs. And if you don't have an LLC, we'll show you how to set up the LLC, right? So we're going to go through the step-by-step for you. So there is no guessing how to set it up, how to find the deals, how to make it work, how to deal with, contractors, how to put your team together to make sure that you can avoid all of the expensive, okay, because it's expensive, all of the expensive learning that most people have to do on their first, second, or even third deal, because every deal is different. Always remember that. No deal's the same. People may think the deal's the same. No deal is the same. Just remember that. And I do hope that you guys join us in December. We are going to continue to let individuals know about this. And like I said, once we reach our number, that's it. We'll close out. And then we'll be focusing in on helping those individuals, hit their million, through the real estate game. All right. So on that note, guys, have a great evening, a blessed night. And we do look forward to hearing from those of you that actually want to take the next step and put your deposit down and start prepping to become a real estate investor, especially going into 2022 when the world is dramatically going to shift. I want you guys to remember one thing. We can't control pandemics. We can't control viruses. We can't control any of those things. What we can do is position ourselves to take advantage of where the money is flowing when all these things are moving. Okay, don't miss an opportunity just because you didn't get the knowledge. You went to college, some of you did, some of you guys went to high school. We went there to learn something, okay? And hopefully the things we've learned have got us to a certain place. Now we're at the point where we can self-educate ourselves to move a lot faster into the world that we're looking to be in, right? So you guys have a blessed day. And I do look forward to working with those of you in this particular area that are looking to make that step. Everyone have a great night.